Alfred Dunhill. It's a nearly 120-year-old company.
Yeah, 120 years next year.
So how, in light of that, do you really evolve the brand, keep it sort of true to its history, true to its sort of core, but evolve it at the same time?
Well, I think keeping it true to its history is what it's all about. But the thing with these old brands are that they were never old brands. You know, they started as very contemporary brands and reflected the way people lived their lives for the moment. And I think when the great people who started them leave, often brands start looking backwards over their shoulder and kind of defaulting to a heritage status. And for us right now, it's about taking the same values of being very customer focused and really kind of understanding the needs and wants of our customers, but making it really relevant for the people who live today. And so in a world where our markets are now so global, it means that we have to do a lot of studying and understanding how people live their lives and making sure that we reflect them in our services and our products.
So let's talk about that. You know, you're a brand, a retailer just for men.
Just for men.
How has your core consumer changed, though?
I think just for men is obviously a challenge, being that probably 70% of the luxury industry is female focused. But in saying that as well, it gives us a smaller customer pool, but means that we can be much more intently focused on them. We're a lot broader than ever we were. You know, we have a lot more customers in lands where our brand isn't from, so it means that we have to build big local teams. We see a much greater demand for kind of personalization or for customer knowledge. People know a lot more about what they're coming in to buy these days than ever they did before. So they're much more led by their own desires maybe than they are by ours half the time. And it means that we have to offer those programs in our stores. And also luxury is incredibly competitive these days. So
let me stop you real quick. You mentioned something, people are led by their own desires rather than the ones that you necessarily would.
It's very not about, you know, it's not a fashion brand. It's very much a style brand. So we don't have the kind of collection where we are creating a new look or a new style every season. Ours is much more an appropriation or a familiarity, but you still have to maintain some sort of contemporary feeling or contemporary notion to make it desirable. So it turns into a world where about understanding the people that shop with us. And you know, our customer base is principally 35 to 55-year-old, time poor, financially wealthy people, and by the time you've reached 35, you know your own stuff. You know what you want, and you have quite high demand. So service becomes a very important element for us. Building a retail environment which can facilitate that kind of customer and make them feel at home and comfortable, and kind of go beyond just transactional shopping, I think.
Describe the retail strategy, if you will.
Around 90% of everything we sell with our own sign above the door. Which is great because it means that we can control product presentation, we can control environment very well. It means that we can set the bar as high as we want it to be set, and for us that's as high as we can set it. And the great thing is it's a men's only brand, so it means we can build retail environments which are very focused around a men's shopping experience. Maybe, you know, a lot of retail environments are designed for people who really love the idea of shopping or shopping as a hobby. I'm talking about women here, but you know.
So how does a men's shopping experience differ from a women's shopping experience?
We have restaurants in our stores or bars in our stores, we have spas, we have cinemas, and we have, you know, it's kind of like a men's den. And so, you know, it's a fun, our customers will hang out with us for a couple of hours and transact during that period, but also hopefully feel comfortable enough to spend time with us. And it's a great opportunity to kind of show the values of the brand. If people are interacting with you for that long, it becomes about product, yes, but also about a lifestyle experience that they have while they're with us. Of course, we have the high footfall stores where you have sort of huge densities of traffic and it becomes much more a transactional based store. But really our model is about building places that push the notion of what shopping is and make it a kind of fun experience. So our store in London is a place where people have meetings or meet their friends, or
it's a real destination.
Yeah, stay for a glass of wine or, you know, whatever. And the models work really well for us, actually.
Where does e-commerce fit into that then?
Heavily. I mean, e-commerce, we wanted to take the same ambition that we would mix services and product together, but we wanted to do it in a way where obviously online we can't provide, you know, touch of skin services, for instance. They need to be content based. So we try and mix content and commerce together. Our website isn't one where you can where you click for the link to ecom or click for the link to brand history. It's one where it's all amalgamated together in quite an editorial way. It's the same values of the brand. Hopefully the stories we tell there resonate. We see, quite a sizable increase in dwell time since we've started doing this. So we do have people hanging out on our website a lot longer, and that's really what we want to have.
So explain a little bit more the kind of content that you're producing and that you're responsible for.
Well, I think luxury and fashion gets very caught up with this idea of youth and beauty, and it seems to constantly promote this notion of unobtainability. I've kind of worked out at this time that I'm not going to get younger or more handsome or have a ripped six-pack than I would have done when I was 22. I never did when I was 22, but it's an unobtainability. I think our message is much more about honesty and reflecting real people. So we use true stories a lot of the time. Hopefully if we tell them beautifully and in the most luxurious of ways, then it means our brand almost becomes an editor of taste as well as an editor of story. And it builds a kind of aspiration system, which if you're a successful person, you can still look up to. I think that, successful men are going to struggle to look up to, an 18-year-old model, whereas they probably will look up to someone who's won the America's Cup or summited Everest or, done something which is just, in the world of dreams. And I think that's what we want to do. We want to tell these really impeccably told narratives that are engaging and also designed for the internet. So we're talking, a complex story told in 2.5 minutes. And it means the brand, as I said, evermore becomes an editor of taste and style and lifestyle, and hopefully those values reflect in our customers. And if they reflect in our customers, hopefully our brand will reflect in them and the product will become something that's desirable.
Talk about your approach to celebrity.
We don't really use celebrity, not for a reason, not a deliberate purpose. There are famous people in our campaign from time to time, but it's more about what they've achieved. We have a kind of a debate basically when we cast the campaigns or we create content stories where we sit around and discuss who we really feel is elegant and intelligent and a person of high achievement and someone that we would really easily look up to ourselves. And whether or not they're famous, sometimes these people are famous because people who go and do brilliant things do end up being kind of well known at times, but we haven't cast anyone on their fame for a long time.
So you're looking at what they've done, what they've accomplished, and
exactly,
that fits into what you're looking for. You have experience at Alexander McQueen and Nike. What from your previous experience at those brands and others are you bringing to your role here?
I guess everything, because you're not born with a whole lot of knowledge. It's things that you gain over time. I was really fortunate when I was starting out in my career that a boss said to me, careers are easy, just work for the greatest brands in the world. I was so naive I didn't stop to consider that working for the greatest brands in the world is actually really hard to do. But people like Nike, they're master marketeers. The way they generate, they tell a story that's about 100% performance, and yet they generate revenue which is about 90% in lifestyle and non-performance product. But they're so resolutely focused on the message, on what they stand for as a brand. It's they define their channel. With McQueen, he was a master, and the things he created were infinitely beautiful. And maybe the commercial side of it wasn't the primary focus for someone like him. It was about the art. And so, if you start balancing up that kind of unbelievable marketeer with this kind of incredible artist, you get something that hopefully can be aesthetically appealing as well as commercially viable. And I think keeping those two in balance is the art to a strong brand and a healthy, sustainable business.
Sure. What's the brave new world of luxury brands moving forward?
Well, it's in migration right now. Everyone's probably noticed that. We talk a lot about China, but we probably shouldn't talk for too long because certainly Latin America is going to come on very strong. Certainly India at some point. India has been the next big market for as long as I can remember. So at what point that switches on, I don't really know. But the point of it is that we see, a whole new world of culture coming into luxury, and it's important that we reflect it. We would be super naive if we sat around thinking that luxury is going to always be an imported idea. The Chinese had luxury 10,000 years ago with the jade industry and China, the China industry. And so they're very accustomed to luxury products, and there's already multi-billion-dollar luxury brands there that we wouldn't know the name of, and are local market heroes. And they will start coming into Western markets categorically. The products are very, very beautiful. And in the same way, our market will always be in flux. And right now, luxury is kind of a war of footprint. I think shopping has become such a global hobby that, you know, luxury environments are few and far between right now. The way they're measured is possibly not the most healthy and sustainable thing for the industry in many respects. So we are at a point in luxury where the playground's changing and the goalposts are shifting. And what it means if you run a brand is you need to be incredibly focused, because you know, I go with the adage that I had when I was 8 years old, that if you run after people, they're going to run away. So what we try and do is stick incredibly close to the value system that we have as a brand, and hope that that resonates through new territories and new markets and new cultures, and people respect us for our purity rather than for our ability to run after them.